Hi there, I'm Roux. Welcome to my video. Today I have a juicy bunch of stories for you guys. You're an adult. Again? Really, lady? But we have kids. Hail Sky Daddy. And Auntie says, a beautiful mixture of choosy beggars and entitled people. But before we begin, this video's shout out goes to Love Gently 90 with your comment, oh my god, Roux! Leftover Larry's is the most precious thing I have ever heard! Thank you. That's why I like using that word. In general, if anything can have a name after it, I love doing that, like Bob, Steve, Larry, I don't know, just like that. And Critical Killer 91 with your comment, one story is okay if your insides are killing themselves. Thank you so much. Your comment just meant so much to me because I was so nervous about disappointing people, so aw, thank you. But without further ado, let's get into the stories. You're an adult. Either treat your kid like an adult or buy her a bus ticket. I had a friend in college who was always kind of a user. She never had a car, so she would ask me a lot of times to give her rides here and there. Mostly to grocery stores and the mall. I agreed the first few times because we were friends, and she had just happened to ask me when I was going out to those places. Anyways, the end of the semester rolls around, and she keeps asking me if I can give her a ride home. We lived in kind of the same area, but I was still unsure of when I was leaving or if I was going to drive myself. For maybe a week, while I'm still trying to figure out how I plan on getting home, she comes up to me with, my mom wants your license number and a picture of your insurance. I look at her like, excuse me? She tells me the same thing again. I ask her why. She hits me with, my mom says you can't drive me home unless she has a copy of your driving record. I basically tell her, well, then it looks like I'm not driving you home. First of all, I hadn't even agreed to take her back home yet. I wasn't even sure if I was driving myself. Second, there was no way in hell I was going to give a complete stranger any bit of my personal information. Third, we're in our early 20s. We're not children anymore. I get that she wants to make sure her kid is safe, but at some point you would think parents would learn to take a step back. I feel this kind of parenting isn't helping your child at all. It's hindering them from becoming a fully grown, functioning human adult in the world. Again? Really, lady? So I was new to the area and I should have suspected something when right upon moving in, entitled mother was on my doorstep asking if I babysat. Yup. Turned out there was a shortage of teenage girls in the area who wanted babysitting money. Or boys, I'm just saying, a little sexist. It was country club territory, and the majority didn't do work. Entitled mother was thrilled to find out I babysat, and scheduled herself a date night that weekend. She agreed to my rate, and I was happy to have a new customer so quickly in my new town. Briefly anyway. Hellspawn was the kind of kid who liked to pull the wings off insects. I should probably Google him to find out his Florida man story. He was beyond unruly. He hurled his dinner at me because I wouldn't give him cookies. He kicked and hit me over insisting he needed to put on pajamas. He threw an absolute screaming tantrum on the floor when it was bedtime because he wanted to stay up and play video games. He was an overall nightmare, and it was blindingly obvious he was used to these tactics working. I survived the night, but by the time entitled mother got home, Hellspawn hadn't finished having his bedtime tantrum on the living room floor. Tiny me was not capable nor interested in trying to physically force a kicking and hitting kid to do anything. He'd even threatened biting. So there he wailed and pounded the carpet. I figured he'd tucker himself out eventually, or entitled mother could deal with what she'd spawned. By the way, he was way too old for that behavior. He was 8. Well, I learned where he got it. As soon as she got in the door, entitled mother threw a screaming fit at me that Hellspawn wasn't in bed. When she got done yelling at me, she refused to pay. I didn't deserve to be paid because I hadn't successfully gotten Hellspawn to bed on time. Why had she hired a babysitter if she still had to do all the work? She deserved a break from Hellspawn's bedtime antics. I was decidedly unamused by her not paying, but she wouldn't budge. So I took the remote control for her television hostage and went home. Then I told everybody I met what she'd done, and unsurprisingly, entitled mother had a history of refusing to pay contractors, house cleaners, and babysitters. Had a lien on her house and everything. Given there were fewer babysitters and babysitting jobs on offer in the area, she didn't have a lot of luck hiring one again. She did eventually come for her remote and to pay up. Then, the damn fool tried to hire me again. Not a chance. That is so I think it's so ingenious too, taking the remote control hostage, because I feel like it's not exactly like, oh, you stole it. It's more like, oh, you're not gonna pay me what you owe me? Fine, you will have no TV. Because what TV nowadays actually has buttons on it, so... And even if it does, I'm guessing that that woman is not going to be too happy by having to get up and switch channels and do the volume, so... Ingenious.
But we have kids. We need that house more than you because we have kids.
5 years ago, my husband and I bought a house. We'd been saving for years for the down payment, and the stars must have aligned for us to get it. Everything worked out perfectly. The house was a major fixer-upper, but it had land and we were happy with that. Turns out, brother-in-law had looked at the house when it was listed as well. They decided it was too much work to fix it up, and not worth it. They wanted major upgrades too, whereas my husband and I are very simple people. We don't need granite countertops, or a soaking tub, or hardwood throughout. Met up with the family recently, and the brother-in-law was talking about how cramped their condo has become with 2 kids now. Brother-in-law decided this was the time to tell us that we should trade houses. I shit you not. Brother-in-law is very, very entitled. Brother-in-law proceeded to argue that we are only 2 people, and their family is growing and could use the space. Literally suggested that we give ours to him and buy out his condo? I laughed. I knew he was serious, but I couldn't help but laugh. I'd never, in my life, imagined someone could be so damn entitled that they demand someone give up their home for the sake of another family. Are you kidding me? Brother-in-law then got mad at me for not even considering it, and began justifying all the reasons his family needed our house more. Oh, you think this would be the worst part, right? Nope, it gets better! We never finished the basement, so there's only 1 bathroom in the house. Brother-in-law informed me that if we were to trade houses, that we would need to make some major upgrades first, because he wouldn't have time to be able to make any renovations. He was somehow inexplicably certain that I would see the logic in this plan and just trade houses with them, because they needed the extra space so much more. And now brother-in-law isn't talking to me, because I laughed through the whole thing and wouldn't take him seriously. Win-win. Go ahead. Punish me by not talking to me. At least then you'll stop trying to make me the bad guy, because I have 2 spare rooms I don't use. My husband and I each have an office. And tell everyone how horrible I am, because I wouldn't buy out your condo at market value while giving you ours out of the goodness of our hearts. Last I know, he was trying to tell my father-in-law to retire and move into the city so they could have the farm. Joke's on him. Father-in-law already talked about it and has left the farm to me and my husband in his will. Because we actually farm, and brother-in-law thinks it's too much work? I always thought the internet exaggerated people like this exist. I thought situations like this couldn't possibly be real. What the hell are these people thinking? I love the fact that a grown person has decided to have more children, but apparently someone else has to pay for that, and you have to buy their house, but you have to give your house to them. It's like logic just took a vacation. When they were making that dude's brain, logic took a vacation, I'm telling you right now. I would just love to see the face on the guy when he learns that he's not getting the farm and that the kid who's actually a nice person and their spouse is getting it instead. Ooh, priceless. Hail Sky Daddy! Backstory. My company has large trainings every month and we get enough food from our local Panda Express to feed about 80 plus people. I know the owner and most of the staff at this location very well. I live in the Bible Belt and most of the people here expresses how much they love the Bible. We'll call the owner Sarah. Story. I stopped by Panda Express to grab a quick dinner before going to see a movie. I'm standing in line with entitled mom and her daughter in front of me. They order and go to a table. I follow shortly after and end up sitting next to them. I start to eat and I hear the daughter say,
Why isn't he praying before eating?
I've heard children make remarks like this before in this area, and I just ignore it. But entitled mother turns around and the fun starts. Excuse me, why are you not praying? Because I'm not religious and I have no reason to pray. You need to stop living in sin and follow God's path. No thanks, I'm good. You're setting a bad example for my daughter, and as an adult, you should know better. She's not my daughter and I'm not doing anything wrong, so please leave me alone and enjoy your meal. If you're not going to do as I ask, then you're not going to eat until you do. It's at this point entitled mother grabs my plate and turns around. Now, I'm not pissed or anything. I find this really funny. She tells her daughter, people in this day and age have no respect for God anymore. I walk over to her table and she asks, are you ready to do the right thing? I told her, I'm not trying to upset you or your daughter, but I'm going to need you to replace my food after you've touched it. I'm not going to eat anything a stranger has touched. Amen, fellow germaphobe pair. Entitled mother starts to scream at me. No! If you would have done what I asked you, you would still be eating, and I'm not buying you anything. At this point, people in the restaurant have taken notice, and the owner, Sarah, walks over to see what's going on. Before I could say anything, entitled mother says, I need a manager. This man is upsetting me and my daughter. Sarah tells her she is the manager and asks me what happened. Entitled mother, don't ask him anything. I'm the one being harassed here. I tell Sarah what happened, and she quickly takes action. Sarah says, I'm going to need you to leave, entitled mother, as I've been watching from the counter everything you've done to him. If you don't leave, I'll have you arrested for trespassing. Entitled mother just starts screaming at the top of her lungs, like someone is killing her. An off-duty officer walks over and separates everyone. The officer makes a call for backup and talks to me and Sarah. We let him know what's going on, and when his backup arrives, they arrest entitled mother for disturbing the peace and trespassing. I feel like people like the entitled mother here is the reason why I get the heebie-jeebies when people seem like overly religious. It's not because of their beliefs necessarily, or like that they don't believe the same thing I do, not at all. It's just when another person is just like, well, everyone else has to agree with me, then that's what changes it. Like, you can believe whatever you want, but when you start enforcing your belief system on me and everyone around you that don't agree with you because you just have this need to control people and everyone has to believe what you believe, that's when it gives me the heebie-jeebies. Auntie says, crazy entitled aunt and the Italian restaurant. This happened almost 40 years ago. My immediate family was, for the most part, perfectly normal and boring. We were not prone to outbursts or tantrums. It was very calm and quiet. Everyone got along and we were pretty happy with our boredom. I tell you that so you understand that I had absolutely no experience at all with people prone to screaming fits. You should also know that I suffer from a case of terminal morbid curiosity. I also don't give a shit. Never did, never saw the fun in it. Ooh, this is gonna be good. This happened when we were visiting for a great auntie's funeral. I was 12. Crazy Aunt insisted that we all go out for dinner at her favorite Italian restaurant. It was just the best. She said so, and she was never wrong. The gimmick here was a little flag of Italy on the table. When you wanted more dinner rolls, you raised the flag. This is important. Flag up, you get rolls. Flag down, no rolls. Remember that. The 6 of us are seated. They take our drink order and bring the bread basket. The cast has a new member, poor uncle, for my poor long-suffering uncle who will one day be made a saint for being married to Crazy Aunt for over 20 years. Some of you commented in my first post that he was an enabler. He wasn't. He was a victim as well. He couldn't leave her without leaving Emily, the daughter. It started with the drink order. Crazy Aunt,
we will have 5 sweet teas.
Dad, I'll have a Coke. Mom, I'll have a Coke. Me, tea, no sugar. This is a mortal sin in the South. Crazy Aunt,
don't be silly. You can't have sweet tea without sugar.
Me, I don't like sugar. Crazy Aunt,
that's stupid. Bring her sweet tea.
The waitress winks at me and says, yes, ma'am. Poor uncle, I think I'd like a Coke as well. Emily, I'd like a Coke. Crazy Aunt,
we drink Pepsi, not Coke. We are having sweet tea.
The waitress brought us our requested drinks. Crazy Aunt was growing agitated. Crazy Aunt likes to control everything and everyone, so she told us what to order for dinner. I'm not going to get into an ethical debate here, but I refuse to eat veal. She demanded we all have the veal. I refused. I knew this would set her off, but oh well, I'm not eating veal. My parents, after I had explained to them years earlier why I would not eat veal, refused to eat it as well. Did I mention I get my I don't give a shit quality from my parents? Well, they didn't give a shit either. They were perfectly capable of ordering whatever the hell they wanted. So they did. I had lasagna. It was good. My mother's was better. Once we ordered what we wanted, it emboldened poor uncle, and he stepped out of line and ordered something else as well. Crazy Aunt was not having it. Crazy Aunt,
You are getting the veal.
poor uncle, no, I feel like something else tonight. Crazy Aunt,
The veal is the best.
poor uncle, I still want something else. Crazy Aunt,
You won't like it.
poor uncle, I'm sure I will. Crazy Aunt,
You don't know what you're talking about.
poor uncle, I know what I like. Crazy Aunt,
Well, you can't have it.
poor uncle, yes I can. Crazy Aunt,
I said no.
poor uncle, well, I'm ordering it. Crazy Aunt,
You always get the veal.
poor uncle, because it's your favorite and you make me. I don't even like Italian food. Crazy Aunt,
Yes, you do. It's your favorite.
poor uncle, I want the lasagna. Crazy Aunt,
Damn it, poor uncle. Order what I tell you to order.
poor uncle, no, lasagna. Emily,
I'll have the lasagna too.
Crazy Aunt,
You can't have that. You are allergic.
Emily,
No, I'm not.
Crazy Aunt,
I'm your mother. I know what you can and can't eat.
Crazy Aunt, to the waitress.
Bring her the veal.
The whole time this is going on, I'm looking from one to the other like watching a tennis match. Back and forth, with the pitch of her voice getting more and more shrill with each sentence. I was fairly certain that when we left, bats would have been summoned. I'm just watching them and eating a dinner roll. The food arrived and everyone got what they wanted. Even Emily, much to the fury of Crazy Aunt. Then it happens. Poor uncle raises the flag. Crazy Aunt puts it down. Poor uncle puts it back up. Crazy Aunt takes it back down. Up and down. Up and down. I see the bread guy hovering at the edge of the table, waiting. Flag goes up and he rushes in to drop off the new basket before it can go back down. Crazy Aunt grabs the basket and throws it at the kid that delivered it. To save time in typing, every time Crazy Aunt speaks, the flag goes down. The rest of the time, it goes up. Crazy Aunt, you don't need more bread. Poor uncle, but I want more. Crazy Aunt,
I said no.
poor uncle, I'm an adult. I can have more bread if I want. Crazy Aunt,
No, you can't.
poor uncle, why? Just tell me why I can't have more bread. Crazy Aunt,
Because I said so. You aren't listening to me.
poor uncle, I'm hungry and want more bread. Crazy Aunt,
You wouldn't be if you had ordered the veal.
poor uncle, yes I would. I always am, but you never let me have more bread. Tonight, I get more. Me, I want some bread too. Crazy Aunt,
No, you have had enough.
me, no, I really think I want more. Crazy Aunt,
Well, you are wrong.
me, you seem upset. Crazy Aunt, that's because you people aren't listening to me. Me, yes we are, we just don't care. We want more bread. Dad, to me, while not trying to laugh at how absurd this is, you aren't helping. Me, I think you want more bread too. At this point, the whole damn place is watching our table in the battle over the flag. I'm fairly sure there were people taking bets to see who would win. In the middle of the confusion, a nice lady sitting at another table nearest Emily tapped her and slipped her their fresh bread basket to her. Emily took a roll and slipped it to me. I took one and slipped it to my father. Then it went to my mother, who, after taking a roll for herself, slipped one onto poor uncle's plate. Crazy Aunt saw it and grabbed for it. Poor uncle was faster. He shoved the whole thing into his mouth at once. It was a big roll. The waitress approached the table to check if we needed anything. Xanax was unfortunately not on the menu, and Crazy Aunt demanded she bring the check. Me, I want dessert, chocolate cake. Poor uncle, sounds great. I'll have some. Emily, me too. Dad, I'll have apple pie. Mom, I'll have cheesecake. Bring cheesecake for Crazy Aunt. She loves cheesecake. Crazy Aunt, no! We are not having dessert. We are getting the check and leaving now. Dad, no we aren't. Crazy Aunt, well, I'm leaving. You can all walk home. Dad, I drove. It's our car. Crazy Aunt, I know. Give me the keys. Dad, nope. Crazy Aunt, you have to give me the keys. I live here. You are just visiting. Dad, yes, I'm just visiting with my family in our car. Crazy Aunt, it's my estate. Dad, I don't care. It's my car and you can't have it. You're a terrible driver anyway. Crazy Aunt, no, I'm not. Dad, you drive the wrong way on the freeway. Crazy Aunt, no, I don't. It's the other cars going the wrong way. Dad, you get lost in your own neighborhood. Crazy Aunt,
Not always.
Dad, you are not driving my car. Crazy Aunt, yes, I am. Dad, no, you aren't. That, ladies and gentlemen, continued while we ate dessert, paid the check my father was buying as we walked to the car, and for the entire trip back to their house, my father drove. We dropped them off and went back to our hotel room. Dad, has your sister always been this crazy? Mom, no, it started when she was about 3. Dad, what happened? Mom, she started speaking in complete sentences. Dad, oh. I feel like there's probably some sort of psychological research to show that people who are this controlling have some sort of personality disorder going on, or like some sort of like if you need to control people, control other people to like this extent, there's something you need to like see Dr. Phil for. And I'm not shaming anyone with mental issues. I myself have mental stuff that I work on. You know, I have an anxiety disorder. I take medication for it. I go to the therapist. So, you know, not shaming at all, but I'm just saying that lady needs some Dr. Phil for her control issues. I think my absolute favorite part about people who are like this, though, is how they go, we like it. It's your favorite. And it's like, no, it's your favorite. You've never asked anybody about their favorite. You just assume that everyone thinks exactly like you. And that if you have a favorite, it's everyone's favorite. And if they disagree, they're wrong. That's it for this time, you guys. I hope you enjoy the stories I picked, and that you'll come back next time. I post every Friday. Now I'm just going to crawl back into my newly found obsession of World of Warcraft. You can follow me on Instagram. It's see what I'm up to. Recently it's been World of Warcraft. Oh my god, it's a good game. Whew. Special thanks to my Patreon patrons. I feel like after I discontinued my Discord, people were not that interested, but that's okay. Thank you anyways. Sorry if the rewards got less interesting. So, yes. Thank you so much anyways. Follow me on social media, and thanks for watching.